Hello guys, I am back from another review and today we're talking about what deku had the power of the Greek gods. So in the last year deku, well, after Odin and his daughters basically arrived and basically told everybody about Izuku's secret that he's the reincarnation of a god, they were basically in shock as also Izuku's love interests, basically Mirko, Nejiri, Jiro, and Momo were also in shock, including Bakugo, which after all of the bullying that he did on Izuku, he actually felt regret because he's not only a god but a god that was killed. And when well the whole media basically basically just recorded that and basically brought it up to or at least show it to the entire world, they were in shock that actual gods, monsters, like those creatures basically exist in real life. It's not like fantasy. It's actually real. So yeah, after that whole thing in the sports festival, Izuku was brought to the principal's office where Izuku is going to be um having Thor and Loki as roommates, and also they're gonna be students in UA. So yeah, so let's talk about what happens next. So when they get back to the dorms, well, some other students from different classes basically start looking at him weirdly. Not like they're basically giving him the stink eye, or they're just basically like saying to themselves, ugh, that horrible freezing like that. They're basically in shock. They're basically like saying, whoa, I can't believe that he's actually a god. As they're basically saying, yeah, and those girls are actually like, Norse gods. Like, that's Loki and that's Thor. As Thor says, "Oh, why are these humans? Why are these stupid mortals looking at us? Gods." As Yuka says, please don't antagonize them. As she says, oh whatever. So when they made it to the dorms, everybody looks at Izuku, basically his classmates. As Jiro looks up at Izuku, as Izuku says, hey Jiro. As Jiro says, why you didn't just tell me? And Kominari is a god as well? That ugh, why you didn't just tell me? We're best friends, as Izuku says. I'm sorry, but it's just, my problem. As one of his classmates, being Momo, says, so I'm being protected by a god? Ugh. And for Nedry, she says herself interesting. So that is why he gave the name gave his weapons names named after gods because he is a god himself. Interesting. And for Mirko, Mirko's in shock as well. And if you didn't know, Mirko's actually the homeroom teacher of class 1A, not Aizawa. And not only that, she's also a love interest for Izuku. So yeah, so she's part of the harem. So after Izuku shows them Izuku's basically his room, well Thor basically jumps onto the bed as she says, whoa, it feels absolutely uncomfortable. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. That was my pops. Anyway, so when Thor says that, Izuku says, "Can you get out of my bed?" As she says, "Oh come on." As Loki says, I will just be taking the top bunk." Izuku says, "Sorry about that, but Loki, that's for Momo." As she says, "Who?" Izuku says, "Momo, I'm actually your bodyguard." As As for, Thor, she says, seriously? You're protecting a stupid mortal? You seriously stoop so low in this life. Izuka says, yeah, but I am, well, human, I guess I can call it. As she says, oh, come on, you're a god. You don't have to trifle with humans. Izuka says, as Thor says, hey, Izuku, that, well, whole incident where we got drunk. Izuku says, yeah. Wait for a second. She says, I'm sorry for trying to, slice off your ding dong. As Izuku says, oh, um, I guess. As for Loki, she says, oh, you're finally apologizing. As she says, shut up, Loki. As Loki says, you don't have to be so mean, sister. As she says, ugh, whatever. So, when Nejiri and Momo arrive, they say, hey, Izuku, as they see, well, Loki and Thor. As Nejiri says, so you're the famous Norse gods, Thor and Loki. As Thor says, yes, I'm the goddess of thunder and war. So, you're the humans that Izuku befriended, right? As for Netri, she says, yeah, and for Momo, she says, yeah, he's also my protect. As well, Thor basically shuts her up as she says, sorry, but he's not going to be protecting you because he is a god after all. So he doesn't mean to trifle with, well, humans. Gods prefer to talk with other gods, not regular old mortals. Izuku says, hey, you don't need to be so mean, Thor. And she says, whatever. Guess I'll be sleeping on the floor then. As for Loki, she says, fine, I'll go to sleep on the, well, floor, I guess. So, well, Izuku starts getting some, well, some leftover mattresses so they can sleep on the floor. So yeah, so after putting these, well, mattresses down, they started falling to sleep. So yeah, so after falling asleep, they started going to school. While they were walking, well, Loki says this. Wow, these, well, uniforms feel comfortable, right, sister? As Thor says, it feels restricting. And you call this school a hero school. I seen better heroes back in my day. Izuku says, oh yeah, like, cousin Thor. As, I meant, cousin, Heracles. As she says, yeah, and also Siegfried. Huh, Siegfried was my best man. He's basically like my right hand man back in the day. As really? As she says, yeah. Also, you girl, you call yourself Izuku's best friend, right? As well, Jiro says, yeah. So what? As she says, I wanted to ask. Have you ever felt anything? Have you felt a war? As she says, no, but as she says, huh, that means you're weak. As she says, what did you say? As Thor says, anyway, so where's this class? So they made it to class 1A as everybody is looking at Thor and Loki. Medetta's basically doing those pervy eyes again. He says, ooh, these girls seem quite fine. Why am I saying it in that voice? As Mineta just leaps up and gets ready to, well, grab onto, well, onto Thor's jigglies, her jugs, her malungers. Wait for a second, guys. So, when Thor sees this, she basically brings out her hammer Mjolnir and basically cracks his skull, but not to the point that where it kills him. As after he gets smashed by the hammer, he says, my skull, why do I feel like it's bleeding? As everybody sees that, well, Manetta's head is literally, bleeding. As everybody, including the girls for some reason, say, hey, why did you almost try to kill Mineta? As she says, well, he was a pervert. As one of them being, Kaminari says, hey, guys, at least try not to, hurt him so much. I mean, he is a pervert, but he's going to be, well, punished anyway. As she says, whatever. So, Susano, your brand new name is Kaminari, right? As he says, yeah, so what? As she says, well, just address yourself as Susano from now on, got it? As as he says, okay, I guess. So, when they go to their seats, well, Loki is sitting right next to Izuku and also, Thor. So, Mirko basically says this that they're gonna be picking their hero names. So wait for a second, guys. So when it's Izuku's turn, Izuku picks his original name, Nightmare. As everybody says this. So your name is Nightmare back when you were a god? Izuku says, yeah. My uncle, well, my uncle Zeus, he gave me that godly name because, well, I would be a nightmare to the, well, I will be a nightmare to the Christian pantheon and make them pay for their sins. As they basically say, oh, that sounds quite edgy. Says, what's his name? Says Sero. Azuka says, what does, um, I meant, wait for a second. As Loki says, what does edgy mean? I don't really get it. As Izuka says, it means something so, ridiculously, bad. But I'm just going to say it like that because I don't want to get demonetized. As she says, oh, okay. I mean, your godly, I mean, your, name as a god is super, edgy. Izuka says, anyway. So, as everybody's picking their agencies, well, Thor is basically saying, so we're gonna be working with, other heroes, right? As Miracle says, yeah, Miss Thor, should I just call you that? As she says, just call me the Thunder God Thor, to me, and me alone. As for, Loki, she says, please try not to antagonize her, please. As she basically says, whatever. So Izuku picks Night Eye's agency because, I guess it's okay, I guess. So wait for a second again. So the next day comes, as is the day that is where they're gonna be going to their agencies. So Izuku goes to Night Eye's agency, where Izuku sees Nejiri, and also Izuku also sees, Jiro. So Izuku meets Night Eye, as Night Eye says, so you're the kid that's, a god apparently. Izuku says, yeah, just the reincarnation of a god. As he says, so you said that this, Yahweh guy, the leader of this Christian pantheon. Izuku says, yeah, I want him to be defeated so I can take away his ambrosia. As he says, ambrosia, what is that? As Izuku says, ambrosia is basically, the essence of a god. Without it, they basically become, lifeless husks or just become purely human or mortal. As Nine says, interesting. So Mirio comes in as he says, so you're the famous Izuku Midoriya, aka the god known as Nightmare, right? Izuku says, so you must be Mirio, right? I heard some rumors, or at least some talk about you from Nedry. As he says, wait, you actually talked to Nedry? As Yuki says, yeah. As he says, oh, Anyway, let's just go to our to our posts. We're just going to be doing some regular old hero patrol. So yeah. So while they were basically patrolling the city for a while now, so just wait for a second. So while they were um in the in their agency, Izuku is basically just patrolling the city with Neji, Mirio, and Jiro. So after when it's the final day, they were basically patrolling the city again as they see well pure white light appear in the middle of the city. So Izuku says, "Wait, I know that light and I know that aura." As Mirio says, so what is that thing?" Izuku says, "That's Yahweh's power." As he says, "Wait, Yahweh? You mean like the so-called leader of the Christian pantheon?" Izuku says, "Yeah, he seems to be creating." Oh no. As he says, "What do you mean by oh no?" As Izuku says, "Behemoth." As Neji says, "Behe what?" As they hear a large shriek. I meant a large roar across the city as they see some sort of well they see like some sort of like furry creature that has like the head of a bull, four large eyes, terrifying but sharp teeth, and has a large tail with a large piece of skin that's able to basically destroy a entire building, and it's also seen to be destroying everything. Izuka says, "May try and call the other agencies." As Mirio says, "Right." So Izuku gets ready. As Izuku tells Jiro and Neji to basically get away from here because it's going to get messy. So Izuku basically starts flying off. As Izuku says this, "Justice reigns from above." As Behemoth starts getting stabbed by tons and tons of dark swords. As Izuku sees Yahweh riding on top of him. As Yahweh says, "Oh, hello, nightmare." So, how's your well your brand new life as a human? As Izuku says, "It's okay, but you're gonna pay for everything, Yahweh. Or should I say, monstrous, horrible. What is another word? You have a god. You ruined everybody's lives just because you think that you're better than everybody, than any other god. Pride is a sin, and now you're gonna pay for that." Izuku summons out his blade, and Izuku says, "As the god of justice now and revenge, you shall pay with your life." As Yahweh says, "Well then, let's have some fun." As he starts charging in, as Behemoth starts destroying everything the city, as everybody is basically running away. Nedry and Jiro start evacuating the entire city, but for Izuku and Yahweh, Izuku starts fighting him. As Izuku uses his several blades to basically well like have you seen Virgil and his ability? I can't remember the name of his attack with his mirage blades. I can't remember it, but it's basically like that. So Yahweh says, "Take this, spears of 1,000 lights." As these spears that are made from pure light start charging in at Izuku. Izuku dodges them, but nearly grazes him. Izuku says, "Take this." Izuku uses his bow. Izuku says, "Take this." 1,000 nightmares. As several shots of these arrows, as it starts stabbing through, well, Yahweh, as Yahweh says, "You really think that it would actually kill me?" As he starts feeling pain, as he starts barfing out this, well, black liquid. It's no normal, well, arrow. It's filled with this, well, it's tainted with, well, special, well, plant, or should I say elixir. Wait for a second. So he starts barfing out this black liquid as he says, "You use dark magic. You." As Izuku says, "Sorry, but it's my last choice." As he starts falling down to the ground, as he says, "You, you actually beaten me." As he starts crying out this black liquid, Izuku says, "It's time for you to pay for your crimes. Your judgment is death." Any last words? As he says, "Go and die like the rest of these so-called gods. I'll be remembered as the god of gods. Who cares? If I die, my legacy, they will all remember." As Izuku stabs him through the chest, as he basically chokes to death from the liquid and also from the stab, or basically from the sword in his chest, and dies. So be the end of this series. So yeah, this is not really like a satisfying ending. I'm just, well, I think, guess, for to me. But if you guys don't really think it's a satisfying ending, you can just go f yourselves. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so in the epilogue, or, well, Izuku, well, returns and basically becomes a, wait for a second. So Izuku returns and becomes a god, or at least a full god, where Izuku becomes the brand new king of the underworld with his, well, with Izuku's, well, wives. And I said wives. So yeah, Izuku gives these for 6 wives, which, if you didn't remember, well, which were Mirko, Nejiri, Jiro, Nejiri, wait for a second, Momo, Thor, and Loki, which they gave birth to, well, several of Izuku's children, which they now protected the entire world. And because of that, well, the entire world is basically, well, protected by these brand new, well, gods. And because of, well, everybody, well, knowing that gods are actually real, they now wanted to, well, join these armies that several of these, well, pantheons made, so they can protect the world. They joined them and basically become, well, basically soldiers or magical soldiers to their, well, Pacific, well, pantheons and the Pacific countries. So yeah, so I hope you liked the video, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.